what happened on Friday for the Mexico City Grand Prix. Now, before we do that, we need to let you know about the P1 Live show. We've mentioned it. It's back and tickets are available. And oh my God, they are flying off the shelves, okay? If you want to come, okay, to either Manchester on the 3rd of December, Glasgow on the 5th of December, or London on the 10th of December to see me and Tommy do the P1 show live. Not just that, but be interactive, play games. There's all kinds of stuff. It's so fun. Challenge Tommy is my favourite part of anything, and you can win some amazing merch. If you want to, please do click on the link in the description, or if you're listening on audio, there'll be plenty of links all over our socials. Trust me, it is selling so much better than I thought it was going to.
Sure
so if you would like to come to our show, please do get involved because, we'd love to see you there. And thank you to everyone that has already and shared it on social. If you do end up buying a ticket, send us a message as well and we'll show it some love. So, yes, get buying if you want to come to the P1 Live show. Right, let's talk about free practice 1 then, shall we? And it was the rookie driver session, really. We had Ollie Bearman, Isaac Hadjar, Frederick Vesti, Jack Doohan and Teo Porcher. Well, we had 4 of the 5. If you're a Porcher fan, you don't really want to talk about the fact he didn't even set one lap on the board. He went out, I think, 3 times and had problems with his brakes. So for Porcher, poor guy, I mean, he must have been absolutely buzzing to get in the car. But he only did a few sort of out laps and then came straight back in because Alfa Romeo just didn't fancy his car to be working. But yeah, it was obviously it's cool. It's cool to see different drivers out there. Who was the highest running? It was Bearman. Ollie Bearman in the
head of Alonso.
Ahead of Alonso. I mean, that in itself, he can print out, put that up on his bedroom wall. It's done. Like that, you've beaten what Tommy thinks is the GOAT.
Yeah, you've beaten Fernando Alonso in a session. That is quite the achievement. Bearman, I think in particular, of course, we can never really take too much from this. We've had it before, haven't we, where we've seen a lot of drivers doing FP1 and they are always at the bottom and quite a way off because they're new and they're not necessarily, they're not there to set a blistering lap time. But Bearman actually, he's only 3 tenths off Hulk. He's beaten a normal runner in Fernando Alonso, no less. And I think that is very impressive indeed from Bearman. So, impressive stuff.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Bearman to be 3 tenths off Hulkenberg, the qualifying madness that he's done sometimes this season as well. That's phenomenal because you look at Isaac Hadjar, for example, in the AlphaTauri, and he's 1.4 seconds off Daniel Ricciardo. Jack Doohan, I think he said in commentary actually during FP2 that it was very much just about sustainable running, I think was the term he used, and not actually trying to extract time from the car. So it's very difficult to compare. But yeah, Bearman, absolutely the driver to stand out. At Jones RF873, why did lots of teams choose Mexico for a rookie test? My opinion of this is like they look at the calendar and go, oh God, we need to stick some rookies in at some point. Not in a horrible way, but just in a case of it's mandatory to do it. Okay, let's tick off one of our rookie placements in Mexico. I don't think it's anything more than the fact that it's just towards the end of the season. Perhaps, I don't know, does Mexico lend itself better to rookies? I really, it's hard to say anything other than that.
It makes sense as well that, towards the end of the season, you're not developing the car as much. You're not going to bring a huge upgrade. It makes no sense to stick Isaac Hadjar in the AlphaTauri if they're going to be putting a brand new update because they need their normal drivers to be getting it as much as possible. But as the season's winding down, that's why, it does feel like it's a bit of a, oh wait, we need to make sure we've got these drivers in.
We now move on to free practice 2. Got some rain, which was a bit out of the blue. It was just little showers, and it actually was coming down quite hard in the last sector. But it didn't really impact the track massively. It was a bit slippery, but nothing that caused too much carnage. But your biggest good surprise, Tommy, Just popping himself in, old Valtteri Bottas, P4.
He was cooking tacos, apparently, because, my God, has that man gone full taco crazy this weekend with T-shirts, helmet design.
The helmet design with the mustache.
With the mustache, and it says, like, I'm here for tacos. But he's also
tacos
here for...
are amazing.
They are very good indeed. And so is Valtteri Bottas, apparently, in Mexico, because P4 is impressive stuff, although it's only practice. It's only Friday.
It is only practice. But Daniel Ricciardo as well, up in P6, 0.3 off Max Verstappen, and right behind Sergio Perez. A lot of support for Sergio Perez, speaking of him, this weekend. Almost every single time he goes past, the crowds are roaring for him. Even Sky Sports, everyone seems to be kind of very much geeing him up for his home race. And that's why I predicted him on the podium. I feel like this support will, hopefully for his sake, push him forward. I think he mentioned in an interview, perhaps I think it was before practice, around speaking a lot with his engineers after Qatar and figuring out with the car what they're doing that's maybe a little bit too safe and they're slowing the car down too much or they're being too conservative and this, that and the other. And I'm like, why did it take this long to figure that out? That's the thing that I'm like, why now? Why are
He's
we
on a run of 10 bad races
it's been
now?
a problem for a while. So I'm like, how come they're pinpointing it now? But that's a question that, of course, they will have to answer, and hopefully Perez can answer his critics, us being some of that, I would say, and quite fairly so, that he can get on the podium this weekend. And he's looked better, hasn't he, so far? P3 in FP1 and P5 in FP2.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a lot of hype, of course, for him and his home race, and there's always that buzz from the crowd, and hopefully they can lift him to a great result, because it feels like forever he's been on the podium. What would it have been? Monza, but that's one in, if you go before that, I couldn't even tell you the last one before that. So yeah, he's not had many podiums in a while. So and of course, if he is on the podium, it would be amazing scenes in that stadium section specifically.
Next question from Half Court Henry 5. Ricardo looks on it in FP1 and FP2. Could we see a possible good point result on Sunday, like a P7 or P8? I mean, I'm not gonna get too excited, especially with Danny Rick's last good performance here was mainly due to a fantastic strategy which allowed him to go on the charge, I think, at the end on soft tyres. He has looked good. Where Yuki Tsunoda will be is difficult to say. Of course, Yuki's first practice session was an FP2, and he has to actually start from the back of the grid as well with a whole new fresh power unit. So very much Danny Rick has to carry the AlphaTauri hopes on his shoulders. But I know it's only practice, but he looks good. It's very good.
The AlphaTauri is by no means the worst car on the grid. I don't think it has been at all. The problem is they just haven't had those races where they've picked up the points. So yeah, AlphaTauri will be praying that this pace is real and Danny Rick can score some big old points and get ahead of Haas.
Speaking of praying, I think there's no team praying more than Aston Martin right now. Oh my goodness gracious me. They have fallen off a cliff. I don't remember the last time I saw Fernando Alonso the slowest. I know it's only practice, as we've said several times. Take a shot if we say that one more time. But we don't usually see him last in a session, whatever it is.
When Alonso was not getting the podiums anymore, we were talking about Aston Martin going, oh, they've absolutely fallen off a cliff, and Alonso is finishing 6th, 7th, 8th. They don't even look like a point-scoring team now, the way it's going at the moment. They have absolutely, just tanked big time.
Oh, what a disaster for them. But hopefully they bounce back tomorrow and on Sunday, especially Fernando Alonso. We'd love to see him up there fighting for big points, but it looks unlikely. And I did want to touch actually quickly on Alex Albon, who had a problem with the floor of his car in FP2, as much as he's been looking very good in FP1 and also through some of FP2 when they first did that sort of low fuel running. But he had a bit of his floor sort of dragging along the ground, and neither Albon nor Sargent actually were out at the end of FP2 to do any practice starts, which I found a little bit strange as well.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal for for Williams. This track, it's an unusual track really, because you see that massive long straight and you think, oh, you need straight line speed, but it's the cornering. I think a graphic popped up actually of the two fastest cars. The person that was fastest in the speed trap was Kevin Magnussen, and he was 19th. So it kind of shows that you can be as quick as you want.
Purple sector 1 at one point as well. He was doing
That's what I mean. You can fly down that straight, but it's such a twisty track for the rest of it that it doesn't really matter too much.
I think finally we'll just very briefly touch on Lando Norris again, looking very good indeed, and his race pace actually looked rather tasty from what I could see when it was popping up and seeing the times as he was going over the line. It looked like Lando was actually looking quite good. So maybe
another P2 on the way.
yeah. Well, you predicted him P1, mate. So
yeah, true. And he's been making a lot of jokes, hasn't he, about when he gets his win, he'll just retire because he's done now.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of memes like, well, he's going to be in F1 for a long time then because of how long he's currently been waiting for his first win. No, he'll get it. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that he'll get a win sooner rather than later.
He can't win every race, Verstappen.
Yeah. And that is it, Tommy. What are your final thoughts before we go?
My final thoughts are, of course, the live show and how good it's going to be. Yeah, you mentioned it before, but absolutely buzzing how many tickets we've sold already, and people are hyped all over the UK as well, which is great.
Glasgow and Manchester accommodation ready for
looking
it.
Looking forward to it. Going to
go to Scotland for the first time ever.
I know, I can't believe that. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Gonna have a great time as well, and going to have a lot to dissect of it. Our end of season show. Going to be fun. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a jam-packed show. My final thoughts are, I haven't said the word Charles Leclerc, and I am going to now. Charles Leclerc, what a beautiful man. That's how I'm going to end it. Right, thank you everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be live on Twitch, Matt P1 Tommy, as always, for our qualifying watch-along, and of course on Sunday as well for our race watch-along, and we'll see you there. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.
Bye.